We've made it through to Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Welcome to the garage, the Taj de Garage. Somebody kind of mockingly called it once. I just think it's a lovely sort of homely place. I hope you think it is too. The Court of Public Opinion and our Thursday morning posting on Facebook, or you might be catching up on some sort of podcast venue, I don't know. Don't forget tomorrow, I hope you join us around the dining room table, jeremycordeaux.com, live streaming. The main body who oversees the PBS, the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme. This is interesting. This is really interesting. They say that the biggest problem facing Australia is not Trump's threat of 250% tariffs. It is the inexplicable delays between the approval and the listing on the PBS. That is the time between the drug getting the nod and the pharmacy being able to fill the script. Red tape and bureaucracy are holding back innovation. I don't know what it is about bureaucracies. They are far more interested in process than they are in getting the job done. So I suppose you could say what else is new. The aviation white paper. We did mention it briefly last Friday, but the aviation white paper that was released last year recommended that the long-standing custom, habit, privilege, call it what you like, of politicians and public servants, bureaucrats, travelling business class on trips under 3 hours be scrapped. Down the back with you. Now this would save money, a lot of money. Some say as much as $100 million a year. The government has refused, get that clear, the government has refused the recommendation. Now one thing is certain, that you can have all the round tables that you like, but government will not be tightening its belt. And could somebody please do something about these politicians' credit cards? They bill us every 3 months. Huge amounts of money. Take, for example, Penny Wong. Penny Wong billed the taxpayers $540,724. $540,724 for just 3 months, from April to June this year. Now this is not her salary. No. This is just expenses charged to her credit card and paid for by you and I, the taxpayer. Over $500,000 in just 3 months, in just expenses. Will that be discussed at the round table? I don't think so. I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't. Anyway, 0491 65 68 60. If you'd like to give us a call, interesting guests and a program for you tomorrow, 9 o'clock until 12 around the dining room table. Isn't that amazing? You might ring in about this. If you're 15 and 11 months or younger, you can't use TikTok or YouTube or Facebook. You couldn't view this on Facebook. But 1 month later, at 16, you can vote. That's nuts. Totally nuts. Now this is a very disturbing story. There are some things that happen in Scandinavia that I'm quite an admirer of. But not this. This is awful. The Danish National Zoo is asking people to bring in their elderly pets. 10 o'clock till 2 in the afternoon, only 4 animals at a time, please. But there's no limit. Bring in your unwanted or elderly pets so they can be fed alive to the animals. Lions, tigers, leopards, jackals. Oh, this is terrible. And it's not a joke. Not a joke. It is not a joke. But it is unbelievable. And I don't know what is next. The mind boggles. Those troublesome elderly relatives of yours. If they can still run or perhaps even walk, well, the lions love that. I don't know where that sort of hard-heartedness ends up. Scandinavia invented euthanasia. Remember that? What's happening to the world? I'm astonished. I really am. Funny things going on. Here's maybe a topic for tomorrow. Frida breast milk ice cream has gone on the market in the United States of America. How did they do that? How would you do that? Breast milk ice cream. Never mind. Never mind. I won't even think about it. And then there's no Pong underarm deodorant on the shelves in Australia. A lot of advertising. You would have seen the ads. All I can say is, what were these people thinking of? It's extraordinary. Seriously dubious, in my opinion anyway, campaigns. Ring me with your nomination. You've probably seen others that I haven't. 0491 65 68 60, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Radio's in turmoil, by the way. You know, mainstream radio kind of thing. The Premier Talk Network has put itself up for sale in Australia. I don't know if there are restrictions as to whether or not people from overseas can invest. I don't know. This is Nine Entertainment, which was bought, I think, by venture capitalists, taking over the Packer Empire and the Fairfax Empire and the Macquarie Empire. They own, as far as radio is concerned, they have 4BC, 2GB, 3AW and 6PR in Perth. All #1 in their respective markets, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth. Conventional media is finding it harder and harder to attract advertisers, who seem to be much more interested in social media and streaming. And speaking of streaming, on TV, I mean, you know what's happening. I reckon what they want to do is to try and migrate people to pay television. Then, I imagine, just close down the free-to-air, and you get the advertising, and you get the subscriptions as well. Do you live stream? Do you binge? Do you view stuff? If so, why? Tell me what and why. JeremyCordeaux.com, Friday morning. Pardon me. 0491 65 68 60. Defence announced that their recruitment campaign of late has been very successful. We now have 61,000 recruits in our army. Mind you, some very sort of middle-ranking countries have between 300,000 and 600,000, but we won't go there. We've got 61,000 recruits in our army. What interested me was that they seemed to be claiming that many of those recruits came through social media. Particularly, they singled out TikTok. Now, TikTok, as I understand it, was banned by the Australian government. No federal government department or employee could use TikTok on the grounds of national security. It's a Chinese company. I don't know why we're so frightened of the Chinese on one hand and so welcoming on the other. But anyway, there you go. Schizophrenia is around the place. It seems that the most important, sensitive department of all, defence, I mean, has been using TikTok. What exactly, who exactly have they been recruiting? I wonder what's going on here. This might trouble some people, but, you know, I'll talk to you about it anyway, because I think it's worth bringing up. I haven't seen it anywhere in mainstream media. LGBTIQ people, sex workers, and transsexuals are all allowed now to give blood to the Red Cross. This is the interesting thing here. We are now the only country in the world to have relaxed this well-established precaution, or some would say prejudice. Now, I can't believe that. It was always a safety concern. What has changed? Oh yes, I know they've got antivirals and things like that. But what sort of pressure has been put on the Red Cross? What sort of political correctness is at work here? In the early days, many people innocently acquired AIDS. Now, I remember that expression because I got into some serious trouble with the radio station when I used it in an interview going back into the 80s, somewhere back in there. You can't say innocently acquired. That's what they said to me. They said, you are suggesting that people were guilty because they were homosexuals and innocent because they were just having a blood transfusion. Well, I'm sorry, my suggestion was do not choose a lifestyle that at the time was killing people, that endangered life, took life, sometimes famous life. Someone getting a blood transfusion was, yes, innocent. I can't think of another word to use. There is no way, however, today that and I'm not trying to say anything that is designed to panic anybody, I would not have a blood transfusion today, and you know why? Because I would not sign the disclaimer, which I bet I would be required to sign to protect the organisation if I was infected with hepatitis A, B, oh look, there's a smorgasbord of things in there you can be contaminated with. I know, look, the Red Cross probably do the best they can to make sure that nothing bad's going to happen, but you will, I'm sure, the lawyers will say, you've got to sign this disclaimer. If it is the Red Cross who made this decision, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, it's a stupid one. A call from an Indian call centre. I started out, you know, disliking these calls and sometimes dreading them. They always come in around mealtime. Clearly the time of day in Australia doesn't match up with the time of day in India. We can save you money on your electricity. How much do you pay for your electricity? I ask. I jump in and just ask. How much are you paying? Because they say, how much are you paying? We can save you 2 and 3 cents here. On the supply charge, we can bring that down by 2 and 3 cents. But nothing. When I ask the question, the gentleman, and it's nearly always a gentleman, and polite and nice, he says, about 1,000 rupees a quarter. Do you know what that is in Australian currency? It's $50. Now just think for a second. They, in India, burn our coal. We can't. They have call centres ringing us at all hours, telling us of minuscule savings that we can make by switching from one company to another, for which I'm sure they get some sort of commission. It's a gigantic, grotesque, Labour-made joke. India, our coal, you know what it is per kilowatt hour in India? 6 cents. 6 to 9 cents per kilowatt hour. Australia, it's 45 to 52 cents per kilowatt hour. What's the difference? Well, we have Labour's renewables. They have our coal. What is the point of Australia's clean energy policy when the big polluters continue along their merry and prosperous way? What is the point? And why is there not one single journalist who will stand up and ask the question? Huh? Pardon me. I'd better not get excited. I don't know if I've got any time.
A little bit.
A little bit, okay. Land clearing. Land clearing has jumped 50% in just 1 year. Get your mind around that. We are clearing land. You know they do that? They've got these two great big bulldozers, Caterpillar bulldozers, and a huge chain strung between them. And they run through vast swathes of beautiful countryside. We are clearing 50% more land in just 1 year. And I'll bet some of these vandals will tell us that they're conservationists dedicated to reaching net zero. The best way, of course, to reduce CO2, and I'm not in any way convinced that CO2 is a problem, and nobody can convince me or give me any evidence that it is, but the best way to reduce CO2 is to plant trees, greenery, not to destroy trees and greenery. Why was this allowed? Did anyone sign off on it? To just calmly announce that land clearing has jumped 50% in just 1 year. Well, thank you for the report. It's just not acceptable, however. Why was this allowed? Somebody should get prosecuted because of it. And the journalists should be asking questions. Questions. You want me to go home, Pete? I will. There's always tomorrow. See you around the dining room table. But before I do, it's August the 14th. Oh, okay. VJ Day, 1945, the year I was born. The Empire of Japan surrenders unconditionally to the Allies, ending World War II. August 15 in Japan, other countries depending on their time zone. It was a funny thing because they had the opportunity after Hiroshima. The first bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. They were asked to surrender. They refused. Strange decision. Anyway, second bomb, Nagasaki. They suddenly saw the light. It was a strange blue, sort of piercing, explosive light. So sad. August 14. France introduces motor vehicle registration, including a driving test. The year, 1893. Good Lord. 1893. Philips makes its 1 millionth radio on this day in 1932. Japan's first patent is issued to the inventor of a rust-proof paint. The year was 1885. Golly. Doc Holliday, if you're into the Old West. I'm into the Old West. We're all into the Old West, aren't we?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Doc Holliday, American dentist. How do you get to be a dentist turned gunfighter? Must be an interesting journey. I know patients can be pretty frisky. Doc Holliday, American dentist, gambler, gunfighter. OK Corral, born in 1851. on this day, and he died 1887. Wasn't a long life. I don't think he got shot. I think he died of tuberculosis. Consumption, yes. That's an old-fashioned word, consumption. Yeah. I thought that is that conspicuous consumption, or? Now that's a 21st century problem, conspicuous consumption. A Swiss Catholic church, Peter's Chapel in Lucerne, installs an AI Jesus in its confessional for a 2-month experiment. Come and talk to God. Wonder what God would make of that. 2024. Lordy, lordy, lordy. Susan Olsen, American actress, The Brady Bunch, born in Santa Monica, California in 1961. The oldest known exactly dated printed book. Wow. Circa 3 years after Gutenberg. 1457. I wonder what those guys who huddled around that printing press or block or whatever it was would make of AI just a few years later. Extraordinary. Steve Martin, American comedian, banjo player, author, actor, Parenthood, The Jerk, Roseanne, born Waco, Texas. I like him. Same age as me, 1945. Okay. Michael Jackson buys the ATV music, including the publishing rights to most of the Beatles' back catalogue. He pays $47 million for it. 10 years later, he sells half, not the whole thing, half of his interest to Sony for $150 million. I like the boy. I'd better not say that, had I? I like the boy. Anyway, one more for the car fanatics. Enzo Ferrari, Italian racing car driver, founder of the Scuderia Ferrari Grand Prix motor racing team and sports car manufacturer Ferrari, dies at the age of 90 after declaring the E-Type Jaguar as the most beautiful car ever. Wow. Enzo he died in 1988. At the age of 90. Good life, well lived, ladies and gentlemen. See you tomorrow morning. Thank you, guys, very much. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion. Believe in yourself. 9 to 12, live streaming. Around the dining room table, 0491 65 68 60. Give us a call. I'm sure that Maria will. If I haven't offended her with all my electric car stuff. She has 2. Believe it or not. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye for now.